Hey everyone, welcome to this week's live Q&A session. I'm excited to be talking to you guys again, and I'm joined this week by Rolando. Rolando, what's up, man? Hey everyone,
Hey, how's it going,
welcome to
Greg?
this
I'm
week's
excited to be
live
joining
Q&A
you.
session. I'm excited to be talking to you guys again. I am as well. Is your audio on over there, Rolando, or the live? I think you got it now.
It is now. There was a little bit of a sound issue. I apologize for that. Totally my
Cool.
bad.
Well, guys, you know how this works. Drop your questions in the chat box, and we will be more than happy to answer them. While we wait for some questions to pile up inside of the live chat, we have a few questions in the comments. One is from Jacobus. How can I offer a coupon to a customer as a product insert? For example, adding a label with a code to redeem 10% off if she or he buys one of my other products. Where will I generate such a code? And how do I link to it in my listing in order to provide the discount? All right. So to do that, actually what you're going to do is you're going to go into Seller Central. You go into advertising, and then I always forget if it's deals or coupons, but let me look.
Coupons, yeah.
Create new coupon.
Oh.
And then I hate how it makes you know the ASIN. Come on, Amazon, just know what products I sell. Let me grab my ASIN. So I'll say, go there, add to coupon, continue next step. Let's see.
Now these coupons are the ones that will display directly on Amazon, but this is a good thing to show and screen share for sure.
Yeah, good point. So these are going to display directly on like the Amazon page. So I'm going to say only allow one discount per customer. I could add a budget to this. All right, so this is just for this individual product though. If you want to create the style that if you buy two, you get a discount, that's, if I'm not mistaken, the one inside of
promotions. Should be promotions.
Yeah, that's right. And let's see here. So it's like this one. It's 2% off. And I haven't done these in a little while, but I think it's set up right here, right, Rolando?
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where you start to drop in like all the percentages that you want to take off, and then eventually you'll generate that code, which would you more than likely you want to cap these as well. There's a way that you can put a limit as to just one per customer, one time use per customer, because people it could get pretty wild and crazy with those coupons.
So that's how this one works. So like if you purchase one of this item, then the buyer gets 10% off this second item, and you enter what ASIN that is. And yeah, then just down here, if you do none, then that can be used as many times as possible. If it's single use, then you get a one-time use coupon to give to people. All right, Rolando, what other questions do we have in the box?
Yeah, it looks like next question is that was on the drop in earlier from Vanessa asking, what happens when a customer returns your product? Does Amazon take care of repackaging it, or does it become obsolete? And one of two things can typically happen when your product is returned. They will deem if the product is actually able to be resold. If let's say the packaging is just it's like torn up and it's not able to be resold, then you would actually have to go in and do a removal of that particular product. So it's not like they always do it, and 9 times out of 10, you will have to actually do a product removal, and that's something to keep in mind because you definitely you just want to regularly check to see which products may be returned and not able to be resold.
All right. Next one, William asks, when adding products to the product tracker, do you typically add it from the extension or just straight from the product tracker? I probably do half and half. What about you, Rolando? What do you typically do?
I would say same. It just depends on where I find the golden nuggets.
All right. All right. Let's see what questions we have live. Or do you have any live questions for us, Rolando?
Yeah, it looks like the question came in here, and it's coming in from Kathy. It says, when setting up an email review request in Jungle Scout, I chose the expectation met request review one. Why does Jungle Scout not show it to you and let you see what is being sent out to your customers?
I'm not sure I'm quite following the question. Do you, Rolando?
No, trying to reread it here to see if I can follow along. Review request.
Expectation met, request review.
If you could just give us a little more clarity, I guess, on that one, Kathy, we could definitely answer it. In the meantime, it looks like Rob dropped a question here. As you guys know, we covered PPC in last week's module. This is actually directly related to PPC. Rob asks, could you please explain the dynamic bid up and down? So you're pretty good at that's always a difficult way to explain. It's a very difficult topic to explain, but I like the way you explain it, Greg.
Yeah, what that essentially means is the value that you're giving Amazon is like your max bid, that they will increase that bid if they see that your product converts well for that particular search term and they think it's likely that customers are going to purchase it, and they'll decrease your bid if they're seeing that customers aren't purchasing it. Now, keep in mind that like the ad auction, it doesn't just charge you anyway, like what your bid is. It like takes a few different factors into account, like the relevancy of your product, probably the conversion rate of your listing, your bid. So all those different things. And then it determines what it's going to charge you. So like when you enter a bid, it doesn't mean you're going to get charged that amount each click. It means that you're willing to pay up to that unless you have dynamic up on. That means that it will charge you, I think, up to 100% more than your bid if it thinks that it's likely that your product will convert for that keyword. So that's essentially how it works.
And when you're first starting out, I would just like to add to that you might want to stay away from the dynamic bid up and down. You more than likely want to start off with dynamic bid down only, so that you kind of can protect that upside. And like Greg mentions in the module itself, you do want to place your bid just naturally a little bit above what Amazon recommends. So you're kind of creating that scenario for yourself without that added 100% that it could go above your bidding price.
All right. Dan said, how do we use PPC to make a losing product become good and a good product turn bad? Well, hopefully you're not using PPC to make a good product turn bad. But essentially the strategies that we talk about in the module, those would be the strategies that you're going to use, whether or not it's a product that doesn't have any PPC and you want to make it good, or a product that isn't doing well and you want to try to improve it. Like the strategies there are essentially the same, which are you want to try if we step back and take like a big picture look at PPC, right? Like there's essentially automatic campaigns and manual campaigns. With automatic campaigns, Amazon's the one choosing where to show your ASIN and for what keywords to show your ASIN for, all right? The downside of that is you don't have control on a keyword level. So you want to take the keywords out of there that are either winning or losing, put them as negative keywords so Amazon stops showing them for those, put them into the manual campaign where you have more granular control, right? And then the keywords that are performing well, meaning that you're making sales at either a profitable or like close to a break-even rate, then you're going to continue those or maybe even increase your bid. And the keywords where it's performing poorly, you're going to continue to decrease your bid or turn it off so that you don't get charged or you don't get impressions for that particular keyword. Like that's like big picture. It doesn't really matter if you're trying to make a good product better or a brand new product good or whatever else. Like those would be kind of like the same strategies that you'd be using. Christopher said, can you elaborate on the removal? Yeah, so what happens here, Christopher, is like, to be honest, the best way to think about returns are they're like a loss, because most of the time you're not going to want Amazon to put those back into your inventory. And as a result, what's going to happen is Amazon can either throw those away for you, and they even charge you, I don't even remember anymore. They actually charge you a fee to throw them away for you. Alternatively, you remember how much, Rolando?
Yeah, it's 15 cents for disposal, 50 cents for a return.
Okay. So yeah, alternatively, you could have them ship those back to your house, and then you could inspect them or repackage them or sell them somewhere else. What a lot of people find though is with lesser expensive products, it's actually like more expensive to try to ship those back to you, for you to take your time to repackage them and then sell them somewhere else or whatever. So what you'll find is a lot of people end up just having Amazon throw away the returns. It seems wasteful and it's like, it sucks, but most people aren't able to make the returns cost effective to resell.
Okay. And Rob asks, how do you know when you win the bid? Now, typically, it's going to be, you won't know in real time, because as we know, PPC data and information is delayed by 24 to 48 hours. So you're only maybe after 48 hours, you can see based on like the impressions and the clicks, you can start really dialing in and seeing if you're actually winning the bid. But it's always going to be delayed, and that's why this isn't a process that you're going to put in play and have answers immediately. It's a long game. You got to wait that 7 to 14 days and run your report and start identifying areas that you can improve your PPC, maybe keywords that you can improve, that you can start using. So it's not something that you're going to be able to determine in real time, other than the fact that you can see sales coming through. More than likely, that might be a direct correlation to your PPC campaigns. But as far as bids and winning the bids, someone might click, right? And remember, it's pay per click. So you're actually charged the moment someone clicks on your sponsored product ad. It's not because you're not charged if they purchase, you're charged if they actually click. So that's why it's very important that you have everything dialed in, that you have a beautiful main image, because that's going to be the initial lure for someone to click on your ad and then go beyond that and actually see your product page, your product listing page. And then it's going to come down to your title, your bullet points, your description, your additional images to really sell the person, because it would be a waste, right? If person clicks on the ad and then it's not a good user experience once they arrive on your page. So very important that you really put a lot of emphasis on that customer journey and identify the things that will really convert your product.
Yeah, and just to elaborate on that for 1 second, Amazon never tells you like what your placement was on the page, or like whether you were like first, second, third, fourth, whatever. The only thing that they'll tell you is like whether or not you got an impression and a click and a sale. So I guess you could think of like you like win the bid, or like it's at least good enough to get shown on a page if you get an impression.
Excellent. All right. So it looks like the next question comes from Dan. Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. We already went through that one. Rob, Rob? Douglas. What are your thoughts of GTIN exemption? I've heard from fellow FBAers that it's an easy process and quick approval, resulting in a significant savings.
If you can get approved for it, I'd say go for it, because yeah, it'd be nice not to have to get a a UPC or an EAN. I think they only approve you if you're brand registered, and it used to be really hard to get approved, but I think lately it's more common. Rolando, didn't you try to do a GTIN exemption?
I have, and I've been denied, so I haven't had success with it. All right, looks like Jeff has the next question here, and it's he's asking automatic and manual campaign. Just to be clear, when we first are starting out, do we do both at the same time to find out what Amazon I guess provides as automatic campaign? Is that correct? So I guess the question here is, do we do both automatic and manual campaigns? And there's really comes down to your budget, how much you've allocated for PPC. Ideally, in a perfect launch, you run your auto campaign and your manual campaign simultaneously, and you're going to be able to start mining for those keywords that Amazon provides through your automatic campaign. But then, of course, your manual campaign, you already know some top tier keywords that more than likely directly align with your product. So why not just go for those and start competing in that space? So ideally, you do the two at launch.
Cool. Rob asks, if you win the bid, can you choose where your item is shown, search page or listing page? The answer to this is yes. You can, let's see, you would be able to only show it on those items. So for example, one thing you could do is, let me see where it's at. Sometimes I kind of forget without clicking around a little. Oops. Just 1 second. There is, no, that's not it.
So if you go into,
I think it might be at this level.
Placements, yeah, right there.
There it is.
Got it.
So one thing you can do here is you could change the bid for either on search pages. Let me zoom in a little. So I could say, okay, I'm willing to increase my bid or decrease it, 100% on product pages. So that's one way you could do it. Alternatively, you could create ads that are only shown on listing pages. And I'll do new campaign real quick. And if you go into sponsored products, and then let's see. Manual, and then you could do keyword targeting or product targeting. So I could enter the products that I wanted to target, and this way it's shown on those. So it's not like, I guess to directly answer your question, it's not like if you win it, then you could choose where it's shown. It's like you could adjust your bids to either spend more or less money, or be willing to spend more or less money depending on different match types. Is essentially how it works.
All right. Next question is Kathy's asking, if I sell the exact same product as someone else that is not patented, should I do brand registry and apply for that patent?
Kathy, I think you may be getting patents and trademarks mixed up. Patents protect the way an item is designed or built, or the way it functions, whereas trademarks protect a brand name, okay? So if you're the inventor of a product, then you can apply for a patent, and that protects other people from copying your product. But if you didn't invent the product, then you're not able to apply for a patent for it. And patents really don't have anything to do with brand registry. However, trademarks are required in order to do brand registry. So hopefully that makes sense. I know the IP law is typically a confusing thing for people. Oh man, we're out of questions.
Yeah, that was too soon. We need more questions. I
Rolando, can you sing us a song
guess
while we
we
wait?
sure. Para bailar la
Let me see if there's any others in the comments. I don't think so.
So how's everybody doing with PPC? Are you guys? Oh, here we go. We got a question coming in now. Let's see. Do you need brand registry for sponsored display ads? And yes, you do. For sponsored display, you do need to be brand registered. All right. Jacobus asks, says, "Hi, question for tomorrow. How can I offer a coupon to a customer as a product insert? For example, adding a label with a code to take 10% off. Let's see here.
Here,
When
we'll
will I
answer that one
generate
first.
the coupon?"
Right.
Yeah, we
We answered
started
that
out
at the
with that one.
beginning, but let me show you again just real quick. You're going to go into advertising, then promotions. You then will click on percentage off. You say, like, if you buy one of, you select what item you want, then the buyer gets this amount off, so like 10% off, and then that applies to, it applies to the additional ASIN right here. So that's how you create them, and you go down here, and for this one, let's do that, review. I have to enter an ASIN, but anyway, you just go down here and hit review. And then you could get the coupon code from that. And if people use that coupon code, then they'd be able to do what you were just asking. So like you could give someone this, give them this code, and they could get 10% off. Oh, sorry. I thought when you were asking this, it was like, if I buy this, then they get this for 10% off. I'm pretty sure the way I just showed you only applies if you buy them in the same cart. So if you just want a coupon code for 10% off, then it's a little bit easier. Then all you have to do is just, you don't have to do additional items, you just do purchased items. So if they buy one of this product, then they get 10% off of the item they just bought. And same thing, I just could do review, I would get that claim code, and that's the claim code that I would give out to customers like in a product insert like you mentioned.
Awesome. All right. Susan asks, is there any reason to track the PPC changes that we make from week to week? Example, increase / decrease of bid prices. I would say that something like bid prices is not necessary to track. Remember, seasonality could change. If it's like, there's it's the holidays. Well, definitely your bid prices are going to increase significantly because the competition just gets fiercer. However, then you have maybe like during summer months, it's not as the bid might come down. So that's something that you really don't need to track. I think more than anything, the what you really want to track and keep an eye on is your keywords. And one of the biggest things that you want to definitely track is your ACoS. You want to make sure that you keep that as low as possible. And so that's probably the one thing that you definitely want to track regularly. But you don't have to keep a historical record of it. It's more along the lines of just knowing where your ACoS is, and then making the proper adjustments to optimize to bring that ACoS down. And there will be times when it'll jump. When you're first launching a product, it's natural for your ACoS to be high because, of course, you're trying to figure this out in terms of optimizing your manual campaigns. And by nature, even automatic campaigns will be, the ACoS will be a little high. But as you optimize your overall campaigns, then the goal is to bring that ACoS down.
Actually, something cool that Amazon also just recently released is like when you're in a campaign, you can see the history. So it actually keeps track for you now when you make changes to it. So you no longer, like, even if you wanted to, you no longer have to track changes because Amazon does it automatically for you.
Awesome. Let's see, we've got the next question is Rob. How does Amazon decide which keywords to use for automatic targeting? So the simple answer here is it's going to pull from your listing. So all the details that you put in, from the title to the bullet points, that is what is initially creating your automatic campaigns. They're trying to they're using different variations and different phrases that they find from your listing directly. Your backend the backend keywords that you have, all of that is what Amazon is using initially. And then, of course, as time goes on, what the algorithm is trying to do is it could go and try to find something that's probably a little bit off subject, but that it seems like it might drive some traffic to your listing, some keywords that are not as common. But initially, it's going to be based entirely on your listing.
All right. Next question was, I'm confused. If I do PPC, does that mean that I have sponsored display? Good question. Sorry for the confusion, Kathy. PPC stands for pay per click. So what you're doing there is you're bidding on different keywords or placements. And anytime a customer clicks on one of those, it charges you. So you're paying per click that you get. Now there's different types of PPC campaigns, and you can see those inside of Seller Central. I have sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored display. These would all be different types of PPC campaigns. These are all, you're charged for all of these when someone clicks on one of your advertisements. All right.
Yeah, it looks like Susan has the next question. She's asking, sorry to harp on the same topic. Any new thoughts on China manufacturing?
Good question. I mean, I think you're specifically asking about kind of like the coronavirus and how that affects China manufacturing. Last I heard, so this was like 2 or 3 days ago, the Chinese government essentially like allowed people to go back to work. However, they kind of like made it difficult to do so because they're still trying to contain the spread of the virus. So what I mean by that is they require that, I think like when you go in and out, you have to get your temperature taken, and there has to be a certain amount of face masks per person per day. And there's like a few other requirements like that. So as a result, the vast majority of the factories are still shut down. You may be able to talk to your sales reps because they might have like their computers at home with them, or they're just using their phones. But it's unlikely that the factories are open right now. Beyond that, I don't really have any better news or like better information than what say like the news does. And I think it's just kind of like wait and see. Hopefully they're back in business next week, but yeah, time will tell.
Yeah. All right. And it looks like Vanessa sent a message. Are you able to check your messages, Greg? Looks like she's looking for some product input.
Yeah, let me look right
Vanessa, now. Yeah. Was that the direct message to Greg? Was that sent as a direct message to Greg? While you looked at, Douglas just wanted to kind of chime in and says that his manufacturers had told him that they're not coming back till the 17th at the earliest, and that they're at the mercy of the government. So yeah, it's just one of those things right now when it comes to the coronavirus that we just have to kind of be patient and allow the authorities to do their thing.
Vanessa, I don't have a direct message from you. Maybe you could try resending it because I don't see it right now.
All right. It looks like while you do that, Vanessa, I'm just going to go ahead and read off Christopher's question. He's asking, after watching this module, I dropped my number one product because $4 ROI doesn't seem like it's enough. Back to the drawing board. No question, just venting. Yeah, sometimes you might get a dud, and the best thing is not to go to like if you do happen to have a product that doesn't work and you know that you're just spending excessively, you just probably might want to get back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that real quick that $4 ROI could still be enough, but yeah, you want to make sure you kind of understand all the costs going into it. Kathy said, what is sponsored display? So if we look at the different campaign types, sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display, we'll just go through all these real quickly. Sponsored products are these placements right here. All right. Sponsored brands is this placement right here at the top, these three. And the last one, sponsored display. For this one, Amazon buys ad inventory on other platforms and shows your ad off of their website. So like after someone, say, visits your listing, they can show them your ad on different websites that they're browsing.
All right, looks like the next question comes from Christopher. Oh yeah, I apologize. Jeff. He's asking, can you see what your competition is paying for their PPC? As a whole, you can't. But when you're first setting up your PPC campaigns, you can kind of see the range of what people are bidding at. I think that's going to be the only insight that you're going to get as far as the competition. And it's fairly accurate. It's very good. You know, what you're working with, that range that you're working with. And if you're just launching your product, Greg mentions in this module in particular, that you do want to place your bid slightly higher. Reason being is that you want to win those bids. You want to immediately out the gate be competitive, versus just kind of like waiting to finally eventually win the bid. We don't know how that process is chosen, right, overall, but we do know that if they're recommending that this is the low end, this is the suggested bid, and this is the high end, then more than likely you've increased your odds to be able to win that bid if you're at the top end of it.
Was that the one from Rob?
Yep. No, that was Jeff.
Oh, I didn't even see that question for some reason. Rob said, what happens when your bids reach the total budget per day? Will you get notified? If you log into Seller Central, you'll see that there's a notification in there that says like campaign limit reached or something like that. I don't think I've ever seen an email of them notifying me, but I don't know. I could have turned that off a while ago. But yeah, it does show you inside the campaign dashboard. All right. Rolando, if you want to take the... Good.
I was just going to say, just to add to that, it's always good to have a decent budget, you know, set a little higher than maybe like I think that their $20 threshold, right, is what they recommend. But maybe sometimes it's good to have about $50 daily budget. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to spend $50, but you do want your campaigns when you're launching. You do want them to run consistently, because if you do, say that you put your budget at 20 and it does exhaust that by like, say, you know, it's 3 p.m. and you know that like maybe the product's going to have bigger sales in the evening. So you're not getting that consistency of like seeing how the sales spread, or giving Amazon's algorithm that consistency of being able to like find the best time frame to be able to put your ads out, because they are doing that behind the scenes. Obviously their algorithm is very advanced and sophisticated, and it knows when like shoppers are shopping and when to display your ad, when not to display it. So yeah, definitely you want a nice budget so that it runs smoothly and consistently throughout the week as you're testing out these campaigns.
All right. Rolando, if you want to take the next one, I'm looking at Vanessa's product for.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see here. What do we got? It says, All right, so it looks like Keaton is asking the next question here. If I have products that have achieved sustained high sales for 6 months or more, should I shut down my PPC campaigns to increase my profit margins? I would actually venture to say no, uh, primarily because if you do have that, I mean, the goal is just to continue to optimize your campaigns, and more than likely, it is contributing to those sales. So you may notice at the moment you shut them down, your sales are going to probably drop. So the goal is just continue to optimize your campaigns. We, like like in the $1 million case study, we have several products that we've been running the campaign since the beginning of time, and it's just because you definitely you're going to get some sales through that. It's going to help your your bestseller ranking. It's going to help your overall product. It's going to, so you definitely don't want to shut that off. I think that it's vital if you are profitable and your PPC is not like eating away too much at your profit, then I would definitely keep it going. All right, let's see here. Looks like Douglas has the next question. So yeah, question says, just to be clear, my product is lightweight. So from a previous module, I have been air shipping DHL, for example. It's my freight forwarder. So I arranged everything through them from factory to Amazon warehouse, receipt, likely Ontario. I'm not sure if I follow the question here.
Yeah, Douglas, if you're using DHL, then you don't have to worry about hiring a freight forwarder and using them. If you're using DHL, it's just like you're probably familiar with, like when you just pay for anything to be shipped like through UPS or whatever else. That's really easy. You don't even have to worry about any of the freight forwarder stuff.
All right.
Christopher asked, does Amazon favor the frequency of keyword per listing? Nah, that's old school SEO stuff. I think Amazon's much smarter than that these days. If so, do we put the keyword on the title and description? I think Amazon does favor keywords in the title, but putting it in the title and multiple times in the bullet points and multiple times in the description, I don't think that helps.
And just to add to that, I would say that it almost hurts you because you have just this limited amount of real estate, and repeating keywords, as we know, does not help. So what you want to do is definitely optimize that space and add as many keywords, or without coming across spammy, and you want to make it sound natural too, because at the end of the day, there's a customer on that other end, and what your bullet point is trying to describe, it needs to be very user friendly and provide that good user experience. So definitely repeating keywords does not help you in any way, and that's why even with your backend search terms, you don't want to repeat those. You want those to be original keywords, and actually that's the place where you can put keywords that don't align, or they just don't make any sense inside of your that real estate that you have for your forward facing listing. That's where you could put like birthday, and just like random words that probably wouldn't fit really well inside of your description or your bullet points or any other place.
All right, the next one's from Kadeen. I did some research online. I saw this. Have you added in super relevant keywords that could be blocking relevant traffic to your listing, which needs to be removed? Maybe you could try to elaborate on that, because to me that doesn't make sense at all. If the keywords are very relevant for your product, then overall it's a good thing. Rob said, could you explain HSA and PPC bids? Yeah, the terminology in there needs to be switched, to be honest. Let me show you. HSA, that's actually the old school term for sponsored brands. So, so that's the bid, or the recommended bid for sponsored brands. And PPC bids for Exact and Broad, those would just be like for manual campaigns. That's what Amazon recommends for your PPC bids.
All right. Looks like Susan has the next question. She's asking, if I have only $50 or whatever per day to spend on total PPC, how do you recommend splitting the money? I can only do automatic and manual keyword. 25% towards automatic, 25% manual broad, 25% manual exact, 25% towards manual phrase, or what do you suggest? Typically, what you want to do when it comes to how you budget, your automatic campaign would probably receive a lower amount in terms of the budget overall, because you do want to be able to maximize those manual campaigns and test and experiment with keywords. So I would say that, and then in there you could definitely. I would say that typically you don't have to divide 25%. You just keep it in one ad in one campaign. You don't, and then the budget is allocated. And some, maybe the broad or the phrase may run more frequently. It just depends on overall your product and, of course, the keywords that you're bidding on.
Yeah, this is of course up to like personal preference, but for me, like when I'm starting out, I just do half my budget in automatic and half inside the manual group. So like this is the example I showed in the academy as well. But like for my automatic campaigns, I have $20. For my manual campaigns, all of them combined, exact phrase and broad, I have another $20. Like if you go in there, it has all those different ad groups, broad, exact phrase, but they're all using that same budget.
Okay, so Douglas asks, what is a super URL? Is it important?
Super URLs are old school. It's something that people believed used to work on Amazon like 3 or 4 years ago. As of today, I think I can confidently say that super URLs make no difference. So don't even worry about trying to learn about them. That's that's old school stuff.
All right, and yeah, well, Doug's asking if you answered it. It looks like, is it important? How do you do it? In fact, I would even go a little further and say that Amazon may even frown upon it. So it's probably best not to even attempt it.
Dan asks if there's a spreadsheet that breaks down the cost from manufacturer to shipping, so we know what the total landing cost. Included with the boot camp, we had a spreadsheet that helps you calculate this. As far as your total shipping cost, I gave in the boot camp a link to the Freightos. Let's see, Freightos, right? Yeah, the Freightos estimator for your shipping costs. Unfortunately, like shipping costs vary so much that you can't really do it accurately in a spreadsheet. You really need to get a quote. But the nice thing about Freightos is it gives you a quote kind of like automatically instead of having to like send an email in and wait for a response.
Yeah, and the document that you were referring to is found in the very first introduction module, where it says start here, and in the description you'll notice that there's the 2020 trends ebook, and there's also 2020 Amazon seller action plan. So it would be in the seller action plan.
Here, I'll show you. Let's see. So welcome to the Freedom Builder Bootcamp. Start here. I click that. Scroll down and seller action plan.
It's one of the tabs towards the bottom. There's several tabs, and that's probably why it may have been overlooked, but that's I think it is, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Profit calculations. Cool. So just one more time. If you go into start here, down here, Amazon seller action plan, opens this, and it's the third tab. for the spreadsheet that we give.
And it's important to keep in mind with this, it's a view only. So what you'll do is there's instructions there. You just copy it and paste it over to, you just make a copy into your Google Drive, and then you can go in and alter it as you like. It's very important that always look in the descriptions, because randomly there's going to be links and some additional resources in descriptions, as well as always look for the downloadable PDF file. It's just like a down pointing arrow right below the video image, and that will be your PDF handout. So we outline some lessons, not all, because some lessons might just be like a very brief introduction to what that module is about, but we outline the ones that are pretty relevant and helpful to you.
Rob said, do people think PPC is difficult to do? When you explained it, it seemed pretty straightforward. Some people think PPC is difficult to do. I think the interface can be a little bit overwhelming. I also think that some of like the material online is really difficult to kind of like understand. But yeah, once you get the hang of it and do some examples and stuff, it really is pretty straightforward. So yeah.
And Jeff, a really good question. That's a really good suggestion to have everything. It sounds like to put everything in one area. We will, once the entire course is complete, all the PDF downloads will be in one section. But as you know, Greg is filming these in real time to give you guys the most current and accurate information. So some of the material isn't ready. So that's why we have to wait till the end to really put it in one section of the entire training.
A lot of questions again. We still have another 10 minutes, guys. So if you want to put your questions in the chat box, more than happy to answer them for you.
I want to add a little bit to what you're saying, Jeff. I mean, it was awesome feedback. Once we get through module 10, there is a survey that's going to be that's going out, and we would love your feedback. We'd love for y'all to give us some additional information. So just be on the lookout for that. And keep dropping those questions. So show a thumbs up if you've launched your product already, and want to see a thumbs up in there if you've launched your very first product.
Rob said, do you guys personally run sponsored brands and sponsored display? Both of those, I've never had much luck running them at cost-effective rates. It does depend kind of like in the niche that you're in. I know some people do pretty well with them, but like me personally, I'm not a huge fan of either of those. Rolando, do you have any additional insight on them or thoughts?
I'd say that it really comes down to if you have like a line of products. I think that's where they are beneficial. If you're launching products that aren't essentially like a product line, then it really, yeah. I mean, your best go-to is going to be doing sponsored product ads versus any brand type ads, because they will bundle your different. Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead and finish.
I was gonna say they will bundle everything that's under your brand and your brand registry, and they may not make sense. They might not, but if you have a theme going along, then definitely it makes sense.
Rob said he's waiting for his product to be made and shipped. Yeah, unfortunately, between Chinese New Year and the coronavirus, a little bit of a bump in the road, but don't let that discourage you. We'll get through that, and yeah, they'll be back to the factory lines in no time, I'm sure. Susan's also waiting for the factories to get back to work, waiting to get samples. Actually, yeah, why don't you drop an update in the chat box? I'd love to kind of see where everyone's at. Rob said, is there such a thing as adding too many keywords for PPC? Yes and no. Amazon's not going to give you any impressions for keywords that aren't relevant for your product. They're going to decide what they think's relevant and what's not relevant. So by that, you could add like 1 million of them. They were going to choose the ones that they think are relevant anyway. That being said, it just makes them like a little bit more difficult to manage if there's like a whole bunch of keywords in there. Because like, as you imagine, like it's just easier looking at a list of 100 keywords than it is looking at a list of 1,000 keywords.
Yeah, that's really what the name of the game is how much time do you have? And are you willing to put into the PPC? Because the more keywords, it's just the more managing. I find that I like to target broader keywords and then allow Amazon to really provide me, the results. So that's why your search term report is going to be a gold mine of great keywords to start using and being able to begin to add those in. So that's why starting out with several keywords, if this is, you're just getting started on PPC, it could become overwhelming. Find, I would say, your top 20, top 30 keywords, and then within your category, within your space. And if you're using broad phrase, they're going to be able to find other relevant keywords that kind of tie in with that keyword. So as you can see, you're just allowing Amazon to give you the results and Amazon to give you the keywords. And that's just one strategy. There's several ways that you could do PPC, and that's what's hard is what one person's going to type might be a little different from another, and there's no wrong way. It's just, it all depends on what's your bandwidth, how much time do you have to put into this. Can you manage 500 keywords? They give you up to 1,000. So like, can you manage that and go in the search room report and try to like figure this all out? It's probably not a good starting point. So yeah, keeping it simple. That's my philosophy.
Douglas asked, what's a rule of thumb for a PPC budget? Like if you're just looking for a number, I'd say like do $20 for your automatic campaigns per day, $20 for your manual campaigns per day, and you could start with that. I think that's good for rule of thumb. All right, Sandy's also waiting for the factories to get back to work. Jacobus preparing, has his listings up, busy optimizing and creating a product video to upload. Nice job. What's the 80-20 of PPC on Amazon? The 80-20 I'd say is probably like the 50 most relevant keywords for your product and optimizing them in manual campaigns. That would be the 80-20.
Very well said.
Not sure what Douglas is asking about. Rob says, so would you say the majority of your time in this business is optimizing PPC? After you've launched, if you're not launching new products, there's not a whole lot to do besides reorder inventory and optimize PPC. So to directly answer your question, yes, that would be like the majority of it, but it's still not very time consuming. As you can imagine though, a lot of people will launch multiple products and continue to launch new products. And when you're doing that, there's like always something to be done because you're always doing product research and launching more products, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Nice.
It looks like Jacobus has the next question. And he's asking, my product is, he's actually just saying his product's from Africa, so he has no problems there with suppliers. So that's good. That's good that, remember, you're not pigeonholed to China when it comes to supplier. Now, granted, China has really created a great way of getting product to us, right? It's like the best supply chain that you can find, and and it can get a little more tricky, a little harder if you're venturing further out. But keep in mind that China isn't the only place to source products. There's lots of countries out there that you can source your product from. they're just going to involve different rules, different ways to get the product to the United States if you're launching in the United States.
Well, since we're out of questions and it's about been an hour, we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Let's see, tomorrow we're going to be releasing the module on scaling your business. Correct, Rolando?
That is correct.
All right, so that'll be coming out tomorrow. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Facebook group, or of course you can email us at any time. It's been fun chatting with you. I really appreciate you coming, and we will see you guys, let's see, it's next Tuesday, and we're gonna do it at 4 o'clock Central Time. So we'll see you there. Adios, bye-bye.